Have you ever felt embarrassed because you couldn't hold your pee in time? If you're over 70, dealing with leaks or sudden urges to go that seem to come out of nowhere, you're not alone. In fact, many older adults believe that bladder leaks and urgency are just part of getting older, something to quietly live with or hide from others. But here's the truth: it doesn't have to be this way. Many of the habits we do every day without even thinking about them can actually make bladder issues worse. The way we drink, move, and even think about our bodies plays a bigger role in bladder control than most people realize. You might think that bladder leaks are just a normal part of aging, but that's a myth. The truth is, small changes in your daily routine can make a big difference, helping you regain control and confidence. In this video, we'll explore 8 common habits that may be making your bladder leaks worse and more frustrating, and what you can do about them. By the end, you'll have simple, practical tips that can help you feel more in control of your body and reduce the frequency of those embarrassing moments. Stick with us until the end, because the last few habits might be the ones you've been doing the longest. And once you recognize them, you can start making real, positive changes. Let's walk through this together and take the first step toward better bladder health. One of the most common habits that unknowingly makes bladder leaks worse is ignoring the urge to go. You might think you're doing yourself a favor by holding it in, especially if you're out running errands or waiting for the right moment to go. But the reality is, resisting the urge to use the bathroom actually trains your bladder to hold more than it should. Over time, this can weaken the muscles that control your bladder, making it harder to recognize when it's time to go. Let me introduce you to Janet, a 72-year-old woman who found herself constantly rushing to the bathroom after holding it too long. She noticed that over the years, the urgency would come on suddenly, and sometimes she couldn't make it to the restroom in time. After a visit to her doctor, she learned that by regularly delaying the urge to urinate, she had actually trained her bladder to behave unpredictably. Janet wasn't alone in this experience. What seems like a harmless choice can actually make your bladder less responsive the next time you feel that same urge. The more you hold it in, the more your bladder gets used to being stretched, and eventually it will send you stronger, more urgent signals that are harder to ignore. Research shows that delaying urination, even for just a short period, can weaken the bladder's muscle tone and reduce its ability to hold urine. A study published by the National Institute on Aging found that habitual urinary retention is linked to increased bladder problems, including urgency and incontinence. For older adults, this becomes even more challenging because your body's reflexes and response times slow down with age. What once may have been a 5-minute warning can now feel like a 30-second rush, and that's when accidents tend to happen. The good news is you can break this habit by making small adjustments. Instead of holding off, try going to the bathroom every 2 to 3 hours during the day, even if you don't feel a strong urge. By doing this, you'll help retrain your bladder to empty at regular intervals, keeping the muscles active and reducing the risk of unexpected leaks. It's a simple change, but over time, it can help you regain control and prevent those rushed, uncomfortable moments. Another common habit that contributes to bladder leaks, especially as we get older, is drinking too much fluid right before bed. It might feel comforting to sip on a glass of water or tea in the evening, but this seemingly harmless routine can lead to problems when you're trying to get a good night's sleep. As we age, our kidneys tend to process fluids differently. This means that the same amount of liquid you drink earlier in the day could have a much stronger impact at night. When you drink too much in the hour or two before bed, you're setting yourself up for a full bladder right when you're trying to rest. And if you're already dealing with bladder issues, that full bladder can disrupt your sleep, causing you to wake up with an urgent need to go. Or worse, have an accident before you even make it to the bathroom. Just ask George, a 74-year-old retiree who found himself waking up multiple times each night to use the bathroom. He thought it was just a normal part of getting older until his doctor explained that his late-night fluid intake was likely the cause. By adjusting his drinking habits, limiting fluids after dinner, and switching to smaller sips if he was thirsty at night, George found that his nighttime trips to the bathroom became much less frequent. Scientific research backs this up. According to a study published in the Journal of Urology, reducing fluid intake in the evening is one of the most effective strategies for reducing nocturia, which is the medical term for waking up frequently during the night to urinate. The study found that older adults who limited their nighttime fluid intake experienced a 50% reduction in nighttime bathroom visits. This is an easy yet impactful habit to change. By simply adjusting when and how much you drink before bed, you can significantly reduce the risk of nighttime accidents. It's not about avoiding fluids altogether. After all, hydration is essential, but rather managing the timing to avoid overwhelming your bladder during the night. So, as tempting as that evening cup of tea or water may be, remember that cutting back on fluids in the hours leading up to bedtime can help you enjoy a more restful sleep, free from the interruption of bladder urgency. And it's a simple change that can make a world of difference in your overall comfort and quality of life. In addition to the timing of when you drink fluids, another habit that may be affecting your bladder control is relying on caffeinated drinks like coffee, tea, or even sodas. Many of us have a morning routine that includes a comforting cup of coffee or tea, or perhaps an afternoon pick-me-up with a soda. While these drinks can feel like a necessary part of the day, they can also be quietly making bladder issues worse. Caffeine is a well-known diuretic, which means it increases urine production and can lead to more frequent trips to the bathroom. But what many people don't realize is that caffeine also acts as a bladder stimulant. It causes the muscles of the bladder to contract, which makes it feel like you need to go, even if your bladder isn't full. For those already dealing with urgency or incontinence, this effect can make things even more difficult. Let me tell you a story about Helen, a 68-year-old woman who lives alone. Helen had always enjoyed her morning coffee and a mid-afternoon cup of tea, but she noticed that as she got older, the urgency to urinate after these drinks became harder to ignore. She found herself rushing to the bathroom more often, and sometimes she didn't make it in time. This left her feeling frustrated and embarrassed, especially since she lived alone and had no one to help her when these accidents happened. Helen thought it was just a part of aging, but after talking to her doctor, she learned that caffeine was likely contributing to her bladder issues. Studies support this connection. According to a study published in the International Urogynecology Journal, caffeine consumption is significantly linked to increased urinary frequency and urgency in older adults. The study found that cutting down on caffeine can reduce bladder irritability and improve control. The good news is that there is a simple solution. You don't have to give up coffee or tea entirely, but reducing your caffeine intake, especially later in the day, can make a big difference. For example, switching to herbal teas or caffeine-free options during the afternoon or evening can reduce the pressure on your bladder. Even cutting down on just 1 cup of coffee in the morning can lead to fewer trips to the bathroom and greater control over your bladder. This small adjustment can help you regain a sense of normalcy and confidence, just like Helen did. Instead of feeling anxious about your next bathroom visit, you can focus on enjoying the moments of your day without the constant worry of rushing to the restroom. It's not about completely giving up the things you enjoy, but being mindful of how they affect your body. By making these simple changes, you'll not only reduce bladder irritation, but also improve your overall quality of life. And that's something everyone deserves: more peace, comfort, and control. Another often overlooked cause of bladder leaks in older women is the weakness of the pelvic floor muscles. These muscles, which sit at the base of your pelvis, play a crucial role in supporting the bladder, uterus, and bowel. As we age, especially after childbirth, menopause, or certain surgeries, the pelvic floor muscles can weaken, leading to a loss of control over bladder function. This means that something as simple as a cough, a sneeze, or even a laugh can result in an unexpected leak. To better understand this, let's look at Mary, a 73-year-old woman who had always been active and loved gardening. However, as time went on, she found herself avoiding social gatherings or outings because she was too worried about having an accident. When she sneezed or laughed too hard, it often resulted in an embarrassing leak. At first, she thought this was just a natural part of aging, but after discussing it with her doctor, she learned that the cause was actually the weakening of her pelvic floor muscles. This is something many women don't realize. They feel embarrassed and accept it as part of growing older, but there are effective ways to address it. Pelvic floor exercises, commonly known as Kegels, can help strengthen these muscles and significantly reduce or even eliminate bladder leaks. A study in the British Medical Journal found that pelvic floor exercises were one of the most effective treatments for incontinence in older women, with many reporting a significant improvement in bladder control after just a few months of consistent practice. The beauty of Kegels is that you can do them anywhere, while sitting in a chair, lying in bed, or even waiting in line at the grocery store. To do a Kegel, simply contract the muscles you would use to stop the flow of urine, hold for a few seconds, and then release. Do this several times a day, and over time, you'll likely see improvements. Just like any other muscle in your body, the pelvic floor muscles need regular exercise to stay strong. If you're unsure about how to do Kegels correctly, don't hesitate to reach out to a physical therapist who specializes in pelvic health. They can guide you through the proper technique and help you develop a plan that works for you. Remember, it's never too late to start, and some women have seen remarkable improvements in their bladder control, even in their 80s. So, if you're tired of living with leaks, try incorporating Kegels into your daily routine. It's a small step, but it can make a big difference in regaining control, confidence, and peace of mind. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a like, share it with someone who could benefit, and leave a comment below with your thoughts or experiences. Your support means a lot to us and helps us continue to create content that inspires and empowers. Stay tuned for more tips, and remember, you deserve to feel in control again. Another common habit that can worsen bladder leaks, especially in older adults, is skipping bathroom trips throughout the day. It may seem like a small thing, but when you delay going to the bathroom or try to hold off for longer periods, you're inadvertently training your bladder to work less efficiently. This can lead to an overstretched bladder that loses sensitivity, meaning you may not feel the urge to go until it's too late. Take the case of Bob, a 70-year-old man who spent most of his days out and about running errands. He found himself constantly putting off bathroom visits, thinking he could just wait until he got home. However, over time, he noticed that when he finally did feel the urge, it came on suddenly and forcefully, making it harder to reach the bathroom in time. This situation made Bob feel frustrated and embarrassed, especially in public spaces where restrooms weren't readily available. His doctor explained that by delaying bathroom trips, Bob was inadvertently training his bladder to hold urine for longer periods, leading to more intense and less predictable urges. Research supports this, showing that holding urine for extended periods can cause the bladder to become less responsive. A study published in Neurourology and Urodynamics found that people who regularly delayed urination had a higher risk of developing urgency and incontinence. The bladder is a flexible organ, and it works best when given the chance to empty regularly. When you wait too long between bathroom breaks, the bladder becomes overfull, and the signals to your brain may not come as clearly or in time. This is especially problematic for older adults, whose muscles and reflexes are not as quick as they once were. To help prevent this, experts recommend creating a bathroom schedule, even if you don't feel an urgent need to go. By going to the bathroom every 2 to 3 hours, you can prevent your bladder from becoming overstretched and reduce the likelihood of sudden, uncontrollable urges. Over time, this can help your bladder function more predictably and reduce the frequency of leaks. By taking small, consistent steps like this, you can regain control over your bladder and reduce the anxiety that often comes with worrying about finding a bathroom in time. The key is to listen to your body's signals and respond in a timely way so your bladder can stay healthy and functional. It's a simple change that, with practice, can lead to lasting improvements in bladder control. One often overlooked issue that can worsen bladder leaks, especially for older adults, is chronic constipation. While it may seem like a digestive issue unrelated to bladder control, the truth is that constipation can directly affect your bladder's ability to function properly. The rectum and bladder are located close to each other in the body, so when your bowels are backed up, they create pressure on your bladder. This pressure can reduce the amount of space your bladder has to expand, making it more difficult to hold urine. The result? More frequent urges to go, or worse, sudden leaks. Now, let me introduce you to Linda. She is 71 years old and lives alone, often spending long hours at home. Over the years, she had struggled with constipation, which she chalked up to the natural effects of aging. However, she started noticing that whenever she experienced constipation, she also felt the need to rush to the bathroom more often. Sometimes the urge would come so suddenly that she couldn't make it to the restroom in time. After discussing her symptoms with her doctor, Linda learned that the pressure from her constipation was likely causing her bladder issues. Scientific research confirms that there is a connection between bowel health and bladder function. A study published in the Journal of Urology found that individuals who experience constipation are at a higher risk of developing bladder symptoms like urgency and incontinence. This is because the pressure on the bladder from a full colon can create an environment where the bladder muscles are overworked and more prone to dysfunction. The good news is that improving your bowel health can help reduce these bladder issues. Staying hydrated, eating a diet high in fiber, and getting regular exercise can all help to keep constipation at bay. Additionally, if you're taking medications that contribute to constipation, it may be worth discussing with your doctor whether there are alternatives or ways to mitigate the side effects. Regular bowel movements give the bladder the space it needs to function properly and can help reduce the pressure that causes urgency and leaks. Linda, for instance, started making small changes to her diet, like adding more fiber-rich foods, and she found that not only did her constipation improve, but her bladder control became more reliable as well. Simple lifestyle changes like these can have a significant impact on your overall bladder health, and it's worth paying attention to how your digestive health may be influencing your bladder's behavior. By tackling constipation, you're not only improving your digestion, but also helping your bladder work more effectively, leading to fewer leaks and more confidence in your daily life. Another subtle habit that can contribute to bladder leaks in older adults is wearing tight clothing around the abdomen. Many of us may not realize that the clothes we wear can have a significant impact on bladder control. Tight-fitting pants, compression garments, or snug waistbands may seem comfortable at first, but they can put unnecessary pressure on the bladder and make it harder to hold urine. Think about Carol, a 69-year-old woman who enjoys her morning walks and spending time with friends. For years, she had worn tight-fitting jeans because they were fashionable and, in her mind, comfortable enough. However, as time passed, she started noticing that she often felt the need to go to the bathroom immediately after standing up or after a long walk. She didn't realize that the pressure from her jeans could be making her bladder more sensitive. When Carol visited her doctor, she learned that tight clothing around the abdomen can reduce the bladder's ability to expand fully, which can increase the urge to urinate and contribute to leaks. Research supports this connection. A study published in Urology found that wearing tight clothing, particularly around the waist, can increase abdominal pressure, which in turn places pressure on the bladder. This pressure can trigger sudden urges to go, especially when the bladder is already somewhat full. The solution is simple: loose-fitting clothing. By opting for pants with an elastic waistband or looser cuts, you can help reduce pressure on the bladder and pelvic floor muscles. This small change can make a noticeable difference in how often you feel the need to go to the bathroom and help reduce leaks. Even if you've worn tight clothing for years, it's never too late to make a shift toward comfort and better bladder health. For example, Carol switched to more comfortable, looser clothing, and she immediately noticed an improvement in her bladder control. particularly when walking or sitting for long periods. This simple adjustment allowed her to enjoy her activities without the constant worry of bladder urgency or leaks. Finally, one of the most damaging habits when it comes to bladder control isn't physical at all. It's the belief that bladder leaks are just a normal part of aging. Many older women start to experience bladder leaks or urgency and quietly accept it as something they just have to live with. This belief, while common, can prevent people from seeking help or trying to make changes that could improve their situation. For instance, take Edna, a 75-year-old woman who had been dealing with bladder leaks for years. She assumed it was just a part of getting older and never mentioned it to her doctor. She would plan her days around where restrooms were located, and at social gatherings, she would always sit near the exit in case she needed to leave quickly. It wasn't until a friend told her about pelvic floor exercises and other strategies that Edna considered that there might be a way out of her constant worry. Research shows that bladder leaks are not an inevitable part of aging, and many causes can be treated or managed. According to a study in the Journal of Urology, conditions like weak pelvic floor muscles, side effects from medications, and even hormonal changes can contribute to incontinence, and most of these issues can be addressed with the right treatments. What's crucial here is that just because bladder leaks are common doesn't mean they are unavoidable or irreversible. Many women avoid seeking help simply because they think it's too late, but doctors now have more tools than ever to assist. From pelvic floor therapy to medication adjustments to lifestyle changes, there are effective treatments that can dramatically improve bladder control. It's all about taking the first step and realizing that you don't have to live with these issues. Edna, after speaking with her doctor, started a combination of pelvic floor exercises and dietary changes, and in just a few months, she felt like a new person. She no longer had to worry about finding a restroom at every turn, and her confidence was restored. If you're in the same boat as Edna was, take it from her. Believing that things can improve is the first step toward reclaiming your comfort and dignity. You don't have to accept bladder leaks as just another part of aging. There's a way forward. The good news is that bladder leaks and urgency don't have to be a permanent part of your life. By making small but meaningful changes to your daily habits, you can regain control over your bladder and your confidence. But remember, you don't have to do this alone. Seeking professional help is a powerful step in the right direction. Whether it's through pelvic floor therapy, lifestyle adjustments, or medications, there are proven methods that can make a real difference. Don't wait for things to get worse. Take action today. Your health and well-being are worth it. By making these changes now, you're not only improving your bladder health, but you're also reclaiming your life and independence. So take the first step. You deserve to feel in control and confident again, and help is out there. Don't hesitate to reach out and make that change today. If you've been struggling with bladder issues, talking to your doctor or a specialist can make all the difference in finding the right solution for you. You deserve to feel comfortable and confident in your body again. So what will you change today? If this video has helped, please like, share, and comment below with your thoughts or questions. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on more tips for living a healthier, more confident life. See you in the next video.